The rebellion has failed. Once defiant revolutionaries now shuffle forward, wrists bound, heads down, courage gone. They expected the gallows or a firing squad. But what awaits them isn't a rope or rifle. It's a cannon. And they're not being shot by it. They're about to be shot from it. Execution methods throughout history have ranged from swift to sadistic. The guillotine claimed to be humane. Hanging, drawing, and quartering prolonged agony. But blowing from a gun? It was immediate, theatrical, and utterly obliterating. Strap the condemned to the muzzle of a cannon, pack it with gunpowder, and fire. No bullet necessary. The blast alone shattered bone, shredded organs, and scattered body parts across fields. One eyewitness wrote, "The head flew 50 feet. Arms were torn left and right. Nothing was left. Death was certain." But this was more than execution, it was annihilation. This terrifying method is believed to have started with the Portuguese in the early 1500s, used in their African and South American colonies. But it was in India, under the Mughal Empire, that the practice gained infamy. Political rebels, mutineers, and insurrectionists were blown apart not just to kill them, but to send a message. Defy the empire, and you wouldn't just die. You'd vanish. As the practice spread, regional powers introduced their own variations. The Maratha Empire and the Kingdom of Mysore tied prisoners to multiple artillery rockets. When launched, the bodies were burned, shredded, and flung into the air, spiraling mangled through the sky. In some cases, the goal wasn't death alone. It was humiliation. An unforgettable, public erasure of identity and legacy. When the British East India Company began expanding across India, they found cannon execution already well known. But it wasn't until the 1857 Sepoy Rebellion that they fully embraced it. With limited manpower and rising resistance, the British turned to terror as control. Captured rebel soldiers were executed by cannon blast in full view of townspeople. The message was clear. This is what happens to traitors. In some reports, rebels reciprocated, turning captured British troops into cannon fodder. While many empires reserved this method for treason or mutiny, Afghanistan used it for a wider array of crimes: murder, theft, extortion, political dissent. Executions became public spectacles. Not just justice, but theater. A deterrent in a region where centralized authority was weak. One report describes bone fragments embedding in nearby onlookers. Even the audience wasn't always safe. The procedure was deceptively simple. The prisoner was tied to the muzzle of a cannon, back against the barrel. Gunpowder, without a cannonball, was loaded. A rope secured the limbs. The fuse was lit. The blast crushed the body from the inside out. Bones vaporized. Organs exploded. Some used grapeshot by mistake or design, turning victims into human shrapnel. In one instance, flying debris injured bystanders severely enough for amputations. Even the condemned's bones could become projectiles. The point wasn't just death. It was fear. And in many cultures, it was also spiritual punishment. In Hindu and Islamic beliefs, the body must remain intact for proper burial rites. Cannon execution ensured the opposite, scattering remains beyond recovery. In death, the condemned lost even the right to rest. As the British Empire entered the late 1800s, officials began replacing the cannon with more civilized execution methods like the firing squad or noose. But in Persia and Afghanistan, the practice lingered. The last documented cannon execution occurred in Kabul in 1930, when 11 rebels were blown apart for resisting the government. That should have been the final chapter. But then came North Korea. In 2017, reports claimed that Kim Jong-un executed 11 musicians using anti-aircraft guns, the modern equivalent of a cannon. The same year, 5 government officials allegedly suffered the same fate. In 2015, North Korea's defense minister Hyun Kohl was also said to have been executed this way. However, these reports, mostly from defectors, are unverified and possibly exaggerated. If true, they suggest a terrifying revival of a method the world had left behind.